The original Super Mario Bros. Released back on September 13th, 1985. And ever since then, Mario has grown to become Nintendo's greatest mascot. Every 5 years, it looks like Nintendo likes to have some sort of big anniversary celebration. The 20th anniversary celebration, the 25th, the 30th, and most recently, the 35th. And with each big anniversary event, it looks like Nintendo raises the bar just a bit more with what they introduce. With the 35th anniversary, we saw a variety of announcements. There was the Mario Lego collaboration, there was news on the Super Mario movie, there was news on Super Mario for the Super Nintendo World Park, and there was a variety of games. Mario Kart Live Circuit, Mario 35, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, Game & Watch Super Mario Bros., Paper Mario The Origami King, and Super Mario 3D All-Stars, a compilation of 3 remastered Mario games, Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, Mario Galaxy. But one particular game that many were wondering why it wasn't included into 3D All-Stars was Mario Galaxy 2. And here we are, just a few months away from 2025, where Nintendo would presumably celebrate the 40th anniversary, and we're now starting to hear some signs that they will indeed be celebrating the 40th anniversary in perhaps a very, very big way. This might include Super Mario Galaxy 2, and other things even more significant having to do with Nintendo Switch 2. And so that's what we're getting into today on Andres Restart. Hello everyone, this is Andres Restart, and today we are talking about Mario's 40th anniversary. And we're going to be bringing up an interesting rumor here, but I just want to clarify, this video isn't just about the rumor. I think there's very likely going to be a 40th anniversary regardless of a rumor or leak or not. The history shows that Nintendo likes to celebrate the anniversaries, and there are other reasons beyond just the rumor that something big is happening next year regarding Mario. And so there's a lot more to this conversation is the main point I'm trying to make here. But before going forward, let me briefly take this moment to ask that if you do enjoy my content, to please subscribe and hit that notification bell, and if you are unsure, watch through this video, and then consider subscribing and hitting that bell. So let's first bring up this rumor. So shoutouts to a Jane on Twitter, they pointed this out to me, and they basically got into this thread posted by Nash Weedle, a leaker of sorts that we've discussed in the past who has gotten things right, has also gotten some things wrong, although more recently I feel like they've gotten more things right, so I've been leaning towards their credibility being fairly good, but of course take it with a grain of salt. So Nash Weedle had said, "Great giveaway, and this has only just begun," and he puts that little smirk emoji, seemingly suggesting that something else may be coming. A lot of people think he might be hinting at something related to Switch 2. And so, a Jane on Twitter responded by asking, "This is a hint that it's coming during 40th anniversary of Super Mario Bros., isn't it?" And Nash Weedle responds by saying, "It will be a good 40th anniversary with several surprises." So here Nash Weedle is saying that there's going to be several surprises regarding the 40th anniversary for Mario. But a Jane also goes on and asks, "Wonder if Mario Galaxy 2 will come to Switch, don't you think?" And Nash Weedle says, "It's very probable, 2025. So first what I'd like to say here is that Nash Weedle isn't necessarily leaking that Mario Galaxy 2 is going to come out for the 40th anniversary for Mario. They are suggesting it's very likely. Now, are they simply suggesting that because it simply makes sense for Nintendo to release Mario Galaxy 2 for the 40th anniversary? Or are they suggesting it's very likely because they've heard that that game is in the works for Switch? We're not entirely sure. But let's talk about what we expect to happen next year. Nintendo's already told us that they will have a significant announcement of some kind regarding Switch 2 before the end of the fiscal year. And throughout this year, they've already been talking about how they've been gearing things up for the successor, and they've given us some details, like recently confirming backwards compatibility. This leads us to think that when they do give us that big announcement, it's going to be more like a reveal, and the Switch 2 will come out soon after. There's been some debate about how much after. Is it going to be a 3-month interval, a 4.5-month interval, a 6-month interval, but most seem to agree that Nintendo Switch 2 is launching sometime in the year of 2025. And with the launch of a new console, most expect that it would launch with a big new Mario game. In some cases, Nintendo has used Zelda to push a new generation, but given that we've just gone both Tears of the Kingdom and Echoes of Wisdom, odds are Nintendo doesn't have a new Zelda game to launch their next generation. But Mario, on the other hand, has been waiting for some time. Sure, we've had a lot of different spin-off titles and side series come out recently, but in terms of mainline 3D Mario, it's been a very long time. We did get Bowser's Fury, a little bit of an expansion quest added to 3D World back in the beginning of 2021 as a part of the 35th anniversary celebrations, but not counting that, we haven't seen a 3D Mario since 2017 with Super Mario Odyssey. And even if you want to count Bowser's Fury was a part of the 35th anniversary celebrations, and now we're talking about 40th anniversary celebrations. It's been a long time. The 3D Mario team likely has been hard at work on the next Mario project, and there's a really good chance it's going to be a launch title for Nintendo Switch 2. And so this game alone is arguably going to be the biggest Mario game since 2017. It might be an even bigger deal than the game in 2017, because in 2017, while Super Mario Odyssey was a highly rated game that has become the most successful 3D Mario game to date by far, and won a variety of game awards, it did share the spotlight with Breath of the Wild, which won even more so at different award shows and was also highly critically acclaimed and was the most successful Zelda ever released. This time Mario might be taking even more of a spotlight because there's not going to be a game that rivals it like back in 2017. And since this game is also being made for next generation hardware, Switch 2, a substantial leap that we haven't seen anything close to from Nintendo before, this game is probably going to be fairly ambitious and impressive. And so if you were to tell me that Nintendo plans on celebrating the 40th anniversary with just this one game, I would say that's fair, because it's going to be a huge game. But looking at how Nintendo treated the 35th anniversary, and considering this rumor of the 40th anniversary, I do think it's reasonable to expect other announcements. Now, going back to Super Mario Galaxy 2, we've already seen that Nintendo is clearly putting on different remasters for Nintendo Switch in these waning years. Recently, they announced Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition for March, and we also know we're getting Donkey Kong Country Returns HD in January. I would not be surprised if throughout the year of 2025, Nintendo continues to put out remasters for Switch 1 to keep Switch 1 owners engaged, even though Switch 2 will likely be coming out and having a significant lineup of huge games to really push the new generation. And so we've discussed other possible remasters as of late, like maybe Wind Waker HD, Metroid Prime 2 Remastered. These games could help to fill up the gaps for Switch 1 owners throughout 2025. But another? Super Mario Galaxy 2. It's one of those last remaining Mario games that hasn't come to the console that many people have been scratching their heads about, because we all thought it made sense during the 35th anniversary alongside the other games for 3D All-Stars. And given the work they did with Galaxy 1, Nintendo could very easily put out a release for Galaxy 2 during the 40th anniversary. And let me also add that since 3D All-Stars was a limited release, perhaps Nintendo could release these games individually on the eShop or in some other way, perhaps simply a reprint, so more people can play these games on Switch 1. So let's say we get a brand new 3D Mario for Switch 2, and we get Super Mario Galaxy 2 for Switch 1. Would that be the extent to the 40th anniversary? I definitely do not think so. There's another big Mario series we've been waiting a very long time for, even longer for, sort of. And that's Mario Kart. The last mainline console Mario Kart came out back in 2014. We've gotten to enjoy Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It's become the best-selling Nintendo game ever outside of Wii Sports, but that's essentially a repackaged Mario Kart 8 from Wii U with additional content, and it's been wonderful. We've also seen things like Mario Kart Live Circuit from the 35th anniversary, and also of course Mario Kart Tour, but it is certainly time for the next brand new Mario Kart game, and that could also potentially come out next year in 2025. We could see both a big 3D Mario and a new Mario Kart to push the Nintendo Switch 2 in its launch year. If you don't have something like Breath of the Wild, then a brand new Mario Kart could certainly help to fill that gap. And I still think there's going to be even more to the Mario Anniversary celebrations beyond what we've already mentioned. Something else that should be expected is news on the Mario movie. We already know that there's going to be a second Super Mario Bros. Movie. They've confirmed it, and they've even told us a release time for April of 2026. Now, April 2026 would be after the year 2025, so you might be asking, how is this in celebration of the 40th anniversary? Well, if the movie's coming out in 2026, when do you think they're going to start giving us, like, news on the movie, like trailers and things of that nature? In 2025. So as part of the 40th anniversary, we are going to learn more about the Mario movie. But let me point something else out. I think Yoshi is also going to play a significant role here. And this part might surprise you a little bit in terms of how well it connects. So at the very end of the Super Mario Bros. Movie, they had a final scene, and it was a Yoshi egg about to crack. And so that seems to be teasing Yoshi, a significant character from the Mario series. Now, there was a variety of wild Yoshi in the Mario movie, but there wasn't Yoshi, Mario's companion. And so I think the end of the first movie was teasing something about the second movie, Yoshi being a prominent character. And here's an interesting little fact. Yoshi debuted with Super Mario World that launched back in 1990. And so here's something interesting to consider. In 2025, it will be the 35th anniversary for Super Mario World, and also Yoshi himself, which might add just a little bit more reason to celebrate Yoshi alongside Mario for this 40th anniversary celebration. And I've actually had a theory that with the next 3D Mario, Yoshi will be playing a prominent role in the game. There's been a lot of talk that maybe the next big 3D Mario game will be an open world game, and if that's the case, you're going to need ways to traverse around this world. And like in Zelda, Link has a mount, Epona, his horse. Well, Mario has a mount as well. His name is Yoshi. So perhaps Yoshi could be playing a significant role in the gameplay throughout the adventure of the next 3D Mario. Considering that Yoshi may be playing a significant role in the next movie, considering that it's also a big anniversary for Yoshi, and that it makes sense for Yoshi to be in a Mario game like this, I think there's a strong chance something like this might be happening. But let me point something else out. Super Mario Galaxy 2 also prominently has Yoshi as a playable character throughout the game. That was one of the big surprises of Galaxy 2 in comparison to Galaxy 1. And what might be even more interesting about this is that it could help to answer why we never saw Galaxy 2. Maybe one of the reasons why Galaxy 2 did not release back in the 35th anniversary is because Nintendo saw that Yoshi was a pretty important part to Galaxy 2, and perhaps they wanted to save a remaster like this later into Switch lifecycle where they help to fill in the gaps, but also use Yoshi as part of the anniversary celebrations where he would be far more relevant. I personally think there's absolutely something to this idea. But you know, the 40th anniversary celebrations still may very well go beyond that. There could be some other random spin-off titles announced. There's likely going to be an extraordinary amount of merchandising as well. I would expect even more Lego Mario / Yoshi announcements. And something else that might be surprising, but perhaps not so surprising, is another huge game to release in the first fiscal year of Nintendo Switch 2. And that could be Luigi's Mansion 4. So, interestingly, Next Level Games, the developer of Luigi's Mansion, the more recent ones, they have a release pattern of putting out some sort of game every 3 years. In 2013, it was Luigi's Mansion 2 Dark Moon. In 2016, it was Metroid Prime Federation Force. In 2019, it was Luigi's Mansion 3. In 2022, it was Mario Strikers. And in 2025, well, it could very well be something else in time for the 40th anniversary for Mario, and also the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2. And given how extraordinarily successful Luigi's Mansion 3 was, as well as Dark Moon for its time, Luigi's Mansion 4 might be something Nintendo definitely wants available early on for the console because it's proven to be such a big seller, and would also be ideal for the 40th anniversary for Mario. And I mentioned the fiscal year just because I could see them taking just a bit longer with this one. Maybe it doesn't come out exactly in 2025, but perhaps early 2026, just because it's a huge game and maybe Next Level Games might take a little bit longer, even though they've had a pretty consistent track record of 3-year intervals over the last couple generations. With Switch 2, things are going to be taking a significant leap, so I'm not going to be complaining if they just take a little bit more time, but regardless, Luigi's Mansion 4 seems like a decent possibility. And so with everything I've mentioned so far, it looks like Nintendo has plenty of material to have a huge 40th anniversary celebration, and if we're looking at things like Mario Galaxy 2, Mario Movie News, a celebration of Yoshi alongside Mario, with huge games like Mario Kart, Luigi's Mansion 4, and the next big 3D Mario game, this could be the most exciting, significant anniversary celebration Nintendo has ever put together. But what do you all think? Let me know in the comments below. This is AndresRestart, thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.